Hello, everyone out there. Sorry for the slight delay. We were just getting our last minute ducks in a row and getting our last minute terrible puns out of our system, I hope. I guess that's not really a pun. Say hi, everyone. We're live.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hi.
Terrible puns inbound.
Yes. So, welcome to our extra live stream today. We are raising money for charity. We are set ourselves a goal of $500 that is going towards Extra Life's game day, as well. Specifically, we're raising money for Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, which is the closest hospital to most of us. Not all of us. Tyler, you're always the odd one out. However, most of us live closest to either Children's Hospital of Los Angeles or Children's Hospital Orange County. So it's a great cause. If you have the ability, please dig into your pocketbooks and help support us today. I was blown away because we set this up. I think I set the donation drive starting about a week ago with the $500 goal, and we've already, as of right now, raised $315 out of the $500, and we didn't have to do anything. You know what I mean? Like, we just pretended. If we just pretended we were going to have a D&D stream, we raised $315.
We're still having a D&D stream. Just ignore Steve on that front.
We are, because we still need to raise the other $285, and that's where you come in, viewers at home. So we have some links. Maybe, maybe if one of you guys can try to find the donation link and copy paste it into our Twitch chat so that we can get it in there if any of the viewers don't have access to it. It should be below. So if you're viewing us on Twitch, below there's a link to the donation, and you can donate money and affect our game in fun ways. So we set milestones for every $100. We've already hit 3 out of the 5 milestones. So what we will do is gradually ease into those, because like I said, I didn't expect it to raise so much money ahead of time. I was expecting it to kind of come in as we played. So I'm going to ease us into that. Yeah. So as I said, like on the chat, I've kept you guys completely in the dark, but according to our stream title, you can see we are all going to a place known as the Pudding Faire. And
sounds lovely.
Yeah, and I told every single player you had to come up with either a Halfling or a Gnome PC. Everyone took that to heart and came up with a Halfling PC, except for one outstanding player. So, congratulations, Mike, on breaking the streak.
You're welcome.
Outstanding of you.
Yeah. But I think it's better to have a mix of the two anyways. So let's just go around real quick so you guys can introduce yourself. So my name is Steve, DM Steve. You can follow me on Twitter, Steve the DM. A lot of these players play a Sunday game that we stream with me. We're doing Descent into Avernus, and we're actually really close to the end. We're just probably 2 sessions from finishing before we step into our next chapter, which we are calling Beyond Avernus. And that's going to be really exciting. And so on that note, let's start with Jordan up here. So Jordan, why don't you introduce yourself and your character name?
Hi, I'm Brian. Well, in real life, I'm Jordan. In this game, I'm Brian, and his real name is Brilliant Krostenzever, but he just goes by Brian because he knows no one can really pronounce his real name. And he is someone who got kicked out of his village for having a bit too much fun. And since then, he's kind of traveled the world with his brewing supplies and his fists. And he's learned to protect himself while staying nice and buzzed. And he's on a permanent pub crawl for the rest of his life, and he's very happy with it.
Very fun. And like I was telling you ahead of time, this should fit pretty decently with today because you're going to a festival, right? Plenty of ways to kick back and relax.
Yeah, Brian would love a festival. He'd be like, oh, yes, let's go.
Okay, so that was Jordan. Let's pop down one notch on my screen, and that would be Tyler.
Hey, everyone. I'm Tyler. I'm playing a halfling named Denny Bobby. Denny Bobby is basically the big fish in a small pond. Grew up in a little village, and for as long as he can remember, has just kind of been obsessed with being fast, with being the best. That's kind of led to some problems. So after his girlfriend left him, he started wandering the world trying to find out there's got to be something he can do to be faster, and that'll just solve all his problems. So imagine he's probably at the fair. Maybe there was a rumor of some kind of, I don't know, land-based vehicle or some kind of magical boots or something.
Interesting. You know, that's such a deep, complex story. Someone should make a movie out of it.
Ooh.
Yeah, get a real Oscar-winning actors to play Benny Bobby.
Like, I don't know, but like I can totally see like the villain in your story being played by like Sacha Baron Cohen or something like that. Just pulling it out of my ass. I don't know.
That's really specific. Yeah. It should be a modern day rendition with NASCAR, though.
Oh,
Instead of the Pudding Faire, it's just the Daytona 500.
yeah. So, if you haven't seen the movie, go watch it. All right, keeping our little twirl around the screen. Up next, we have Randy.
Hi, I'm Randy. I will be playing Bartleby Blackmire, who is also an itinerant brewer. A while back, Bartleby, he's kind of a snob about brews, and he had sampled some fairly substandard, or what he thought was substandard, product from a brewery called the Three Hags Distillery, and not realizing it was in fact run literally by three hags, he very loudly criticized them and was cursed. And now whenever he gets angry, well, stuff gets real.
Very fun. Why is it when I say come up with halfling characters, two of you guys come up with drunks?
Oh, he's not a drunk.
No, he helps.
He's an alcoholic.
Right. He's an enabler.
Yeah, he enables Brian.
That makes sense.
Bartleby and Brian are pretty good friends.
Very cool. All right, I'm excited. Keeping this going around the screen, we have underneath me to here. It's like weird on my screen, but Brianna.
Hi, I'm Brianna. Today, I'm going to be playing the halfling wizard named Shen, who's totally not based on a real person. Shen is a wizard who was tutored by a small, secretive, paranoid group of wizards, and eventually learned the ways of becoming a war mage. After his tutoring was done, he started traveling the world and is prepared to go where the facts of the arcane carry him.
Just pause for 1 second. Stream, just ignore this. I got a phone call real quick. 1 second. Oh, it's my lawyer. Hang on 1 second. What, we can't?
Dun, dun, dun.
We're not allowed to? What if I'm... Okay. All right, my lawyer says we have to make a full disclaimer here that this Shen Bapiro is completely a 100% original creation by you, Brianna, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Perfect.
Do not steal.
OC, do not steal.
So we'll be interested to see the cease and desist we receive midway through our stream. And the only way we can stop that cease and desist is if you donate to us to fund not only the Children's Hospital, but our legal fund. Keeping the ball. We're so dumb.
I'm so sorry, actually.
Either way, this is gonna be so fun. So keeping the ball rolling around the screen, we have Mike.
Hello. I will be playing Vormin, the gnome artificer. He's got kind of a checkered past. He doesn't really talk too much about, but he basically got roped into inventing weapons for a war. Which war? Don't know. He won't say. I'm not entirely sure if he knows, but now he's out doing his own thing, still tinkering away, working on odds and ends and finding his way in the world.
And blowing stuff up.
Well, of course, blowing stuff up.
It's like step 1, blow it up. That's always the go-to. And then step 2, I'll figure it out later. Well, and you are our only gnome character, so congratulations on that.
I've got to feel special somehow.
Nice.
Is that like a cell phone? I don't know. You're self-owning yourself. Self-deprecating humor. Is that gnomish?
Yeah, it's a very gnomish thing.
Perfect. Okay, and last but not least, moving on up from Mike is Rick.
Hey everybody, my name's Rick. We're playing Haladar, the halfling cleric druid who was born into the clergy of Yandala, the halfling goddess of nature. He was raised in her faith, but as a young boy, he lost both of his parents in a raid on his remote temple, and he was cast out into the wilds, where he grew to love the land and everything that comes with it, especially apples, apple pie, apple pudding, and his companion, his wolf Wilbur.
Now, you did not have me make a Wilbur token.
Oh, that's okay. He's always with me.
He's just writing it.
In his heart. Keeps him in his heart.
That's beautiful.
Is your wolf a medium creature or a large creature, mechanically speaking?
Medium.
Okay, that's funny. So that I am very happy that you guys came up with all these character backstories that I can throw right out the window as we start our campaign because like I said, I did not tell you guys at all what you were getting into. The only person that had any idea was probably Brianna.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit because we talked about it because I thought I ran this module for her before and I didn't.
And I was not there for that part, so I don't know what's going to happen.
And if any of you guys have ever played the Pudding Faire or heard us talk about it, because it's kind of been a thing we've talked about around the guild house quite a bit when we play D&D, then oh well, it'll still be fun. So, first thing I want to do before we get going, because we are going to get going, we need to reach out and thank all the people who actually donated already. Okay, so we have, like I said, $315 of donations off the top. So thank you guys, everyone that made it happen. A lot of it came from our Facebook drive. A lot of it came from our Dungeons and Dragons group, and we miss our Dungeons and Dragons group because we used to see each other pretty much weekly, person to person, and we haven't seen each other since March, and it's really sad. So
yep,
I want to see everyone again, but that's okay. We're making the best of it. So first thank you goes to the Perez family, emoji tongue, I think. But that actually ended up being my sister. So she donated $50, who gives one player in our game a level up, and she didn't know who to think, so we got one level up coming to a random player in the future. Secondly, thank you, Kelly. Kelly B is definitely part of our Dungeons and Dragons group. And come out to a lot of our events, and I've run games for him before. So thank you, Kelly, for donating. It was awesome of you, and he's the one who altered reality. So we'll get to that in a little bit. Unfortunately, my checklist doesn't give me the names of all the Facebook donors, but the ones I do remember off the top of my head, so Janelle and Trish and Crispy and oh god, there's one more big donor and I'm blanking. I'll look it up on the break when I can, but we've gotten most of our donations have come from our Facebook drive, which is amazing. So thank you guys for that. I have a donation from JVO, who is donated $50 to give one of our players a level up. And this level up was specifically called out for you, Randy. So whoever it is must know you. So thank you to JVO. And there's a Charles Reed up there. That was my son helping me test the donation this morning to make sure everything was working. And last but not least, we got a $20 donation from Anonymous. They chose to remain anonymous in their donation, but they wanted to do the spin the wheel, which will be a lot of fun. Specifically trying to give it to me, the DM. Unfortunately, the wheel rewards don't exactly work that way. So the backup plan was if it doesn't go to the DM, please give it to Jordan. So Jordan, congratulations, you have won one spin on our wheel.
Yay.
Which we'll get to. I'm not going to start the game like it. We're going to do it. We're going to kind of ease in these rewards at the end of each in-game day. So there's still plenty of time, guys. We got almost 4 hours left to reach our goal. If you're watching this, donate some money, give our players some help because they might need it to win this module. I might have made it so hard that they can't win it unless you donate money to help them get over the hump.
Nice.
I'm an
That
evil
sounds kind of
genius.
manipulative, Steve. I'm gonna be
Well, you
honest.
know what? When it's for the children, you can be manipulative as you want.
Chaotic good. I like it.
Exactly.
That's a life lesson.
Plus,
It's for the children. The ends justify the means.
Yes, that is very, very true. Okay, serious face off for a second. Yeah. So big thanks to all you donators, and if you haven't donated yet, please do. So, I just realized right now that there's one thing I did not test in our tech setup, which was our music bot in Discord. So I'm about to play music through the bot, and what I need for you guys to do is to adjust the volume level of that bot so it doesn't drown the rest of us out. So I'm going to start the music.
I already have him adjusted. Perfect. Sounds
Yeah,
good.
it's the same bot we use in a lot of our games, so it might not be too much of a stretch to believe that you already had it boosted. I can't really hear it. I had to turn it up.
Shiny.
So we are coming into our game. So let me I'm gonna switch over to our gameplay screen. So we fade in on a rickety cart slowly rolling across a bumpy road. To the edge of the road, the Chianthar River flowing down from Baldur's Gate towards Baldur's Gate from El Turel. In the background, a large trade vessel carries cargo to some unknown destination. The camera pans up, and we see the driver, a halfling man, wearing a wide-brimmed hat while chewing on a long piece of straw. To his side, riding up front, a smaller halfling child with freckles and pigtails. She is grinning backwards towards an interesting sight. A fat pig, far bigger than any of the people in the cart, and a group of interesting-looking adventurers hitching a ride. I need to pause there for 1 second, because according to our notification, we just got a $20 donation from Shen's fan club. So we will get to that in a second. But thank you, Shen's fan club. Your group has hitched a ride with this farmer. Partly to help protect his cargo, but more so because of his destination, Honey Petal Village in the Threepenny Woods. Each year in the summer, the halflings and gnomes put aside their grudges and get together for a big celebration known as the Pudding Faire. Held in the halfling village within the middle of the woods, the gnomes come from all over the forest to celebrate this feast. It's caught your attention, and you've decided to check it out for some nice rest and relaxation. So, from here, we see the little girl, like the little halfling girl with pigtails, smiling. The camera pans over. In the middle of this cart is this huge pig just kind of lying there in the back of the cart. And then sitting on the little benches around it, like uncomfortably trying to fit into this cart, are the 6 of you. So the camera pans, and the first person we see is Bartleby. So if you can go ahead and just give me a quick description about like what the audience would see looking at your character, and maybe what you're doing as the cart plods along the road.
Well, Bartleby's a halfling, of course. He has a fairly impressive beard for a halfling, anyway. Just a habit he picked up from training with dwarves. He's reasonably heavily armed with 2 axes. He's generally wearing furs. And he's probably just staring off in the middle distance, waiting to get to town.
Okay. The camera pans next across to Brian.
Brian is he's got a wine skin, water skin in one hand. He's got brown hair, blue eyes. He's wearing like a mix of like leather and cloth. Looks comfortably dressed. He's got a spear attached to his shoulder, like on a hook. He's got a sword on his hip. He's got spike gauntlets, and he's just taking a swig from his wineskin every once in a while. Definitely not wine in there. But he's also, you said the pig is pulling this cart?
The pig is not pulling the cart. The pig is resting in the back of the cart, like in the cargo space, and you guys are like trying to fit around it.
Oh, Brian's laying on top of the pig.
Okay.
Yep.
The cart's actually being pulled by a very strained donkey.
Nice. Now he's laying on his back, looking up at the sky, enjoying his wineskin on top of the pig.
Okay. Yeah, the pig is big enough to be used as a mattress, absolutely. Okay. The camera moves from Brian to Denny.
Denny Bobby is wearing a loose denim jacket, some slightly ripped jeans, seems some wear and tear. Got his fancy yellow cape on, real flashy looking. And he's taking his goggles off his head, and even through his sunglasses, is trying to kind of like see if he has anything in his teeth. Got a little toothpick fiddling with it. And overall, kind of thumping his leg, a little impatient to get wherever we're going.
Yeah, the one thing we're not moving is fast. All right. Next up, the camera moves over to the lone gnome in the group. The camera like pans over and then up to our only gnome. So that would be Vermin.
Vermin is sort of sitting back as far as he can away from the pig. He's got denim coveralls with some armor over it, modified in some ways. But he's working with his tools, tinkering with in odds and ends, squinting down from his one good eye because the other one is covered with a patch. He's got dark hair, sort of scraggly, and a chin-strap beard. But he's very focused on his work and not his traveling companions right now.
Okay. And from there, our camera moves like to the other side of the cart where the tallest of all the halflings sits, Halidar.
You see Haladar's got bright, like reddish orange hair. He looks more like a dwarf. It seems like he's been eating well off the land. In fact, he's currently enjoying an apple. He's got this brown armor that looks like chain links together, but made of wood in some way. He's got a shield kind of propped up next to him that has a cornucopia symbol on the outside, and he carries a gnarled staff in his right hand. And as it curls up to the top, again, there's another apple there. He finishes eating the apple, and he tosses the core to his companion right next to him, Wilbur, the brown wolf, who seemingly loves apples as well.
Your wolf must be very well trained not to eat this hog.
He's more of a vegetarian.
Vegetarian. Awesome. Last, but certainly not least, the camera pans over to Shen.
So you see a halfling with dark hair and pale skin. He's looking around the wagon with a very thinly veiled disgust. Is not very happy to be traveling with a bunch of commoners and a pig, especially not particularly keen to look at this halfling next to him that's just feeding his wolf a disgusting diet of apples. Wrapped around his neck is a small red weasel that sort of has a similar sneer on its face.
And that weasel's name?
Baitlin.
Baitlin. So the camera makes its full rotation around this motley crew as it turns back to the little girl, pigtails, freckles, smiling back at you. I'm so excited! The Pudding Faire is my favorite event of the year. Always on midsummer. And I was worried we weren't going to get back in time, but Daddy insisted we had to get Hamlet checked out. The man that's driving turns his head to look towards her with a smile, giving you a sort of I'm sorry shrug as he does so. Leave the poor people alone, Porter. You're talking their ear off. She grins, turns to you, and continues talking anyway. My favorite is Nanny Cowslip. Her kittens are the cutest every year. Not to mention she has the best treats. Oh, and this year I'm finally old enough to try the eel eating competition. Daddy said I was finally old enough, and I've been practicing my technique. Look! And before you have much of a chance to react, this little halfling girl is shoving an entire carrot into her throat and attempting to swallow it whole.
Oh, please don't hurt. Please don't hurt yourself.
It's not going very well for her as she coughs and chokes it up.
I think chewing would help.
No fair, she says. This cart's too bumpy. No, I can do it. If you have to take time to chew, then you can't swallow the eels whole.
She's got a point. Take too long to eat, you lose.
That was a fact I never needed to know.
Now, little girl, I need to ask you something.
What's that?
I'm going to ask you for the data that you have that this woman has the cutest kittens in the world, as you claim. How many kittens have you seen, just out of curiosity?
I don't know. Lots? Like 13?
All right, well, hypothetically, if there are only 13 kittens in the world, it is still highly improbable that these kittens that you've seen are the cutest of all 13. I'm just going to put that out there.
But they are the cutest.
Well, your sample size is small, and it is illogical for you to claim that. Also, what is the measure of cuteness that you have?
As you're, like, drilling into this little halfling girl for, like, the data to back up her claims, the farmer that's, like, driving, Farmer Butterweed is his name, and he sits and he says, "Whoa, sit down there, Porter. We may have trouble." And Porter, like, kind of wiping this, like, glazed over look, looking at you, Shen, as you just, like, drop all this, like, words that washes over her. And she's still wiping a bit of tears as she's choking up the carrot. We see a group of mounted soldiers bearing the symbol of the flaming fist on their chest, galloping towards your cart. And the farmer says, he looks back at you guys and he says, "I don't want any trouble with these guys. The fist might just be trying to shake us down. Nobody do anything stupid." And you can see that he brings his cart to a halt. And there's, at least like 5 or so mounted flaming fist soldiers. And the 2 in the back have 2 crossbows like aimed right at your guys' cart. And the woman in the front, she has long flowing red hair from beneath her helmet. She dismounts while the crossbow bearing soldiers stay mounted, crossbows still aiming at you. "I do apologize for the intrusion," says the red-headed woman. "My name is Susie," and she gives you like a little bit of a bow. "I work for the Flaming Fist in Baldur's Gate, and by extension, the Lord's Alliance. Now, we are looking for a halfling woman by the name of Elsie Rumknuckle, under a warrant put out by Waterdeep. By any chance, would she be on board? If so, simply hand her over, and this whole terrible mess can be over with." The farmer shakes his head. No Elsie on board here. We just came from Baldur's Gate." Susie kind of looks over the lot at you, stopping to look at the halfling daughter the longest, and then kind of does a quick scan across the cart and realizes that she's not. What's that?
We're all dudes.
Right. Yeah. There doesn't look like there's anyone that really matches this description, but she's still giving you guys a very piercing look. You can feel her gaze penetrating through you. "Yeah, rumor had it she's in the area. That's why we're looking. Had a tip she was seen traveling up this road. Keep an eye out for her if you can. She's a dangerous one. About 2'10", brown hair, a bit of a birthmark across her left eye, looks like an arrow. If you come across her, there's 100 gold piece bounty on her head. We'd be happy to split it with you," as Susie kind of winks and grins at you.
Berman has still been working on his doodads, and he kind of looks up at her and says, "I only have the one eye, so..." And he kind of shrugs and goes back to work.
That means he's gonna keep an eye out for you because you just got the one.
She
Don't worry about it. I'll wait for the both of us, and I blink.
She nods like slowly, kind of like looks like she has like a very like tired look on her face. And as she like sees like a group full of this halflings and everything, so she goes, "Let me guess, you're on your way to the Pudding Faire?"
Mm-hmm.
She shakes her head towards the rest of the group, and like she's like asking if you're going to the Pudding Faire. And she turns and looks at the crossbowmen behind you guys, and you see her just give the slightest like shake of her head, no. And the two in the back kind of put their crossbows away. Might want to be careful. Some bandits have been attacking carts in the area. Just earlier, we got into a scuffle. I nicked one of them pretty good in the stomach, and they ran off like cowards. But still, there's a chance they're in these woods somewhere, waiting to strike at an easier target. And one of her eyebrows goes up. I don't suppose you'd be wanting to buy some armed escort, would you? And she looks expectantly at like the driver of the cart. And he shakes his head. And he's like, "No, I think I've got all the protection I need." And he kind of like looks back at you guys, kind of for some reassurance.
Yep. Yeah, we
got this.
Yep.
Very well. Remember, if you can capture Elsie, bring her to us. There's good money in it. Even a good tip that leads to her capture will be rewarded.
Were you hurt in the battle, good miss?
She almost laughs like at the absurdity of the question, and she says, "Us? No. The other guy didn't look too well, I'll tell you that."
Oh, well, that's good to hear. And I'll reach into the pouch on my side and pull out an apple and kind of say, "Well, probably going to be pretty warm today," and I'll toss it out towards her. I like the way you look, as I pat my red hair and give her a good apple.
You watch her like take this apple from you and like look at it like it's something that like she's almost never seen before. And then she puts like a genuine sort of smile on her face and says, "And who might this gift be from?"
Well, I mean, if you want to, it's from, it's from me, Halidar, by way of the good graces of Yandala, but you can just say me.
The Flaming Fist, and me especially, Susie, thanks you, Halidar. Remember.
Sure. Be careful.
You as
never
well.
know when they might get lucky. And, instead of them getting the sword in the gut, it's you.
She nods. And she says, "Well, farewell then." And she kind of trots back and gets up on her horse in like a really like swift sort of maneuver, settles the helmet back on her head, and kind of like yas her horse, and they take off down the road like in the direction you guys are coming from, back towards Baldur's Gate. Shortly after, like, the farmer like starts the cart back up, and he's looking a little nervous, and he's just kind of saying, "Do you think there's really trouble up ahead?"
Well, if there is trouble, you will have no problem dealing with it because you have me. I am tutored in the ways of war mages, so I will easily dispatch all of them. No problem.
Right. Yeah. What Shin said. No, I've got the feeling that any sharing they're going to be doing with the reward is going to be a split in our head with a sword or an axe. They don't seem like the type to share.
I mean, I've always known the Flaming Fist to be effective at what they do, if not always fair. You can usually count on them to uphold their end of the bargains, no?
Sure. I don't know.
You're like, "I don't know, I don't care."
I take another drink and close my eyes on top of the pig.
Yeah. So it's not long after this, right? Farmer Buttery takes a turn off the main road into like a small woods, which you guys all know is the Three Penny Wood. Dusk is settling in, and as you sit on the edge, like watching for raiders in this forest, nothing happens. Travel seems to pass uneventfully. And just as it starts getting truly dark, up ahead you can see the flicker of flame as the Honey Petal village comes into view. A traditional halfling village in like every sense of the word. Small hills hold the homes that have been carved out of the ground, while a community center has sprung up in the center. Here you can see that various booths, stalls, and games have been set up among the makeshift path. Dominating the town in the very center is a big tent that looms large. The sound of cheerful singing and work can be heard drifting in from the distance. And Farmer Butterreed kind of like looks at you and says, now, here at the Pudding Faire, we embrace Cyrrollalee's spirit of opening our doors to others on the midsummer. And so, you are welcome here as if you are one of us. Rest assured, no money will change hands during this festival, my friends. You're welcome to stay with us at the Squirrel and Nightjar Inn. I thank you for accompanying us and keeping us safe. Make sure to come by tomorrow and watch as I win the livestock competition. And he motions towards the giant hog, like, you know, in the middle of your cart. And the daughter, Porter, she smiles and she gives you a big wave. She's like, have fun. See you tomorrow at the Pudding Faire. May Cyrrollalee bless you. And their cart rolls off, leaving you guys standing outside of the Squirrel and Nightjar Inn.
Brian pet Hamlet on the head and said, "You're a good pig," as he climbed off, and then he adds Porter and the farmer right away. He says, "That's some pig you got there."
I know.
I wonder if they have apple pudding at the Pudding Faire. That would, I mean, if you haven't had apple pudding, oh, let me tell you. And he takes a bite of his apple. Oh man, it's amazing. I wonder if I can find somebody really good with making the pudding, and I can have these apples put in the pudding. That would be fantastic.
I've had
Might
apple
get
cider.
Sure was that? Well, yeah, it was probably fermented apple cider. Now that I think about it,
Mm-hmm. It was good, but apple pudding sounds great.
Yeah, let's make this the first roll of the session. Haladar, why don't you make me either make it a history check or a nature check?
all right, let's go with. They're the same.
Honestly,
Nature.
I could even accept a religion check in this case. Your choice.
Religion it is.
See what you know of the Pudding Faire.
Nothing. I've never been there.
So it's
He's
true,
like,
right?
what's pudding?
It's the curse.
Oh, actually, the thing that sucks is because of the way that I cleared the chat window accidentally, so they can't even see your roll. But you rolled a 6 on your religion check, so yeah. Here's the thing: this specific festival, this Pudding Faire, as it's called, is in a very remote backwoods location, and definitely not something celebrated in like the big cities or even in the forest where you come from. So you're actually going in completely blind. You have no idea what to expect here at the Pudding Faire. You never even heard of it announced until a couple days ago when you jumped on this cart to come here. So you guys
I've
are
been looking for it ever since.
you're standing outside of this inn, and there's a very nice like halfling proprietor like inside that is willing calls you in, gets you checked in. You guys like in the spirit of this, right? There's a lot of people that come in and visit and or people that have moved. Like traditionally, what happens is people move away from Honey Petal Village and they come back once a year, like for this event, and they still like feel like it's like their home. Their family lives here. Most of them have places to stay, but for those that don't, there are these inns set up. And so it's set up kind of like a hostel. So there's like bunk beds and like big rooms. So the 6 of you are able to share like a singular like room with just a bunch of beds like kind of stacked in it. And like the farmer told you, there's no money that exchanges hands here. You are welcome through the blessing of Cyrrollalee, and they open their door to you in this midsummer festival. So that gives you guys, it's pretty late, but it gives you guys at least a moment to like talk with each other before bedtime, any sort of like story beats you guys would like to do before we go to sleep and awaken to the Pudding Faire.
I'm gonna go up to the innkeep and Ask him. So this Pudding Faire.
Mm-hmm.
When's the race?
The race?
Yeah, the race. There's always a race.
I don't know if there's any specific races set up, but there's always events going on. I'm sure there's some sort of race going on tomorrow. Actually, I know what race. If you're looking for like speed competition, I got the game for you. It's called Yandala's Luck.
Ah, all right.
That
Tell me more.
Is
What's the luck?
the great? That is. I'm going to tell you that's a great game because it's Yandala.
Right.
Ah.
So she kind of like leans out the like front of her thing and points off, and you can see like the big tent in the middle of the town. Right. It's like the most dominating thing here. And she says, every year we have a race, and whoever wins that race becomes the Pudding King and is giving the first bite of the great pudding at the end of the night. When we cut into the giant pudding and everyone celebrates, the Pudding King gets the first bite. And she basically points out and says, inside that tavern, inside that tent, are tables set up around in a circular fashion. Whoever can get across the gaps and race across the tables, leap through the air the fastest, becomes the Pudding King.
Well, you're looking at tomorrow night's Pudding King. Thank you for the information.
She laughs. She's like, it ain't that easy. Listen, everyone else that's also competing, they are allowed to throw food at you to knock you off your game. People train for their whole lives just to become the Pudding King. You think you can just roll in here and win?
Reckon I can.
Well, I look forward to seeing you try. And she laughs and smiles and shakes her head a little bit. You get the sense that she doesn't believe that you have it in you.
That's fine. I don't need no belief.
But that's probably the closest thing they have to a race.
Okay.
That she knows of. Anyone else have anything they'd like to do or say to the other characters before we check in for our first night's rest?
Are they serving any alcohol now, or is that tomorrow?
There's definitely people like milling about. There's nothing formal, like there's no big celebration. It's all being saved for tomorrow. But there are, if you wander the grounds, you could definitely find people that are like literally like singing traditional halfling songs, and even a few gnomes that have already come into town. Like they're kind of sharing some of their gnomish drinks. There's definitely a party atmosphere this night.
Brian's super social, so after, we don't have to role play any of this, but after he figures out where his room is, he's just gonna go out and hang out with a bunch of, like, just walk around and say hi to everybody and sing and drink with some people before he goes to sleep.
Okay. Do you want to give me a constitution save to see if you can actually stay awake and make it back, or if you fall asleep out in the grounds with other people?
Oh, he wouldn't care, but sure, I can make it.
Yeah, you can either tell me, do you just fall asleep, or do you actually come back to your room?
I made a 14, so
seems pretty reasonable.
So I probably am like, I could sleep out here, but I've got a room. I guess I can go back.
Yeah, you managed to stumble back and to find your room correctly.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, Bartleby here's a gnomish drinks, and he's all in for anything exotic. So he will go out and sample every gnomish drink he can find.
You just sample it? You're just taking like a little taster of each one?
Yeah, you got to keep the palate clear, you know.
Right. Yeah. There's definitely quite like the gnomish ales and stuff are very like interesting because they seem to be made traditionally from like stuff like in the ground and like moss based drinks. But I don't know if it's quite refined enough for your halfling palate, but it's interesting.
Yeah, good enough.
Okay.
And as the party's going to and fro, I look in my satchel with the remaining apples left, and I'll find each one of them and pass them out and tell them, what Ma used to say, an apple a day is good for you. So have a good apple.
am I to understand that your apple is your good berry? Or is it just apples?
Yes, it is.
Got it.
Nice.
An apple. So like if you're in combat and you want to heal, you gotta like eat the whole apple.
Yeah.
Mighty
Someone takes
inconvenient,
an
but I
action, though.
appreciate it.
That is very cool. I didn't. catch that
Halidar,
either.
you say that an apple a day is always good for you. However, I have to pose certain questions to you just for the sake of asking questions.
Okay. And I'll take a bite of the apple.
Now, let's say, hypothetically, that this apple that you produced has been cursed of some kind, has a curse of some kind, and it's not good for you. Then, would it really be an apple that is good for you? And apples would do you no harm.
Well, these apples they're special. Because if you die, and if you die, Bartleby can force feed it to you, and you'll come back to life.
I see.
How do you know
Interesting.
that, Al? How do you know that? You kill people with apples?
No, I bring them back to life with apples. Be sure to
Interesting.
eat it though, because it'll get pretty sour and rancid in about a day or so.
Interesting. Well, after this day, where this apple is no longer effective for, as you claim, bringing people back to life, it is no longer good for you, thus nullifying your claim that an apple is always good for you.
You have to eat it.
Yes, but this has a time period. You did not specify a time period for your apples when you first initially made your claim.
Well, it's a good apple because it tastes good.
Now,
I mean, when it's gone, it's not going to taste like anything. I mean, I can make some more for you. Hey, to tell you what,
taste is extremely subjective. I'm just going to point that out there.
all right, and I'm going to take a bite of my apple and kind of turn and shake my head and scratch it and walk away.
Shen, leave him alone. Fuck.
You cannot tell me what to do, Brian.
Please, Shen. Please.
So the camera, like we fade from this like shot of like you guys like just being annoying to each other, and we like kind of go to like the shot of like the moon with a few clouds like kind of drifting across, and then that cross fades into like a sun like rising, right, as we finish our first day and wake up the next morning. So this is part of the pause where I'm going to pause and we're going to resolve any of the stream stuff. So hope you guys are having a good, those viewers, donators, hope you guys are having a fun time so far. We did get the one donation, right? So Shen's party, what is it? Shen's fan club.
Fan club.
So Brianna, you got a fan out there, and Shen specifically has a fan out there. So congratulations. That reward was for a spin of the wheel.
Oh God.
Ooh.
I'm so scared.
And so I think this is a good time to resolve a lot of our donation stuff that we have set up. So let's start with level ups. Okay. So two people have gotten level ups specifically, and that is Randy and Jordan.
Whoa.
Yay,
Yeah.
thank you.
The level up. So the level up for you, Jordan, it came from my brother.
Oh, cool.
So they donated, right? And then he asked for me to give like a description of each of the characters. And I did, and he picked the monk to be the one without knowing it was you directly.
Cool.
So your character is what earns you this. So Randy, Jordan both take a level up right now, and thank the people that donated to help you guys. For everyone else, I need all of you to give me a straight D20 roll.
Oh no.
Highest roll gets a level up.
Dang.
Shen. Oh, Vermin.
No,
takes-
Vermin.
Also, Jordan, you rolled and you weren't even in it.
Oh, right. Sorry.
But either way,
double
it was the
dipping.
other people.
Vermin comes in at the very end to snake it away from Shen. So, Vermin, congratulations. You go ahead and take a level up to level 6 as well.
Hey.
Okay. Now, for the wheel spins, let's do Jordan first because we have one wheel spin specifically for you, Jordan. Okay.
Oh my God, I've gotta say thank you to your brother. I got so much cool stuff at level 6. Your brother's the best.
Yeah.
Now I feel bad for going after his D&D character in Avernus.
Nah.
Don't feel bad.
I don't.
All right. You can see this on the D&D. You can see this on the stream. You guys won't be able to see it as players, but I'm going to go ahead and spin the wheel, and we're going to see what you win, Jordan.
This is exciting.
Viewers at home, what do you see? What do you get? Jordan, unfortunately, it was not an amazing prize. You receive a free healing potion.
Yay. That's still good.
Okay, it's still not bad. Okay, now I have 2 random wheel spins to give out. Actually, one wheel spin specifically for you, Shen.
Mm-hmm.
So let's do that one. Wheel spin for Shen. Here it goes. Round and round the wheel goes. Where's it stop? Nobody knows. Oh, you hit a free feat.
Ooh.
Wow.
Shen, go ahead and add any feat you'd like to your character.
Oh, God help you all.
So Shen's fan club, that spin specifically came from Shen's fan club. Jordan, your spin specifically came from an anonymous donor.
Oh, very cool.
So you probably donated yourself, right?
No.
Somebody anonymous donated and called you out specifically, so that is cool.
That is cool. Thank you.
Okay. So I still have 2 more random wheel spins to give, and these are based on Facebook donors that didn't choose an incentive, and they were in the $20 tier. So I'm going to give 2 wheel spins. Let's do this. If you haven't gotten anything yet, so that would be Hal, Denny,
and Bartleby.
And Bartleby.
And
No, Bartleby got a level up.
Oh, yeah, I got to level up.
Okay, so it's Denny or Hal or Bateman.
Let's do. I'm gonna give 1 spin to Hal and 1 spin to Denny, so everyone's gotten 1 thing so far.
Oh, cool.
That feels safe. All right.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm gonna go and I'm gonna do Hal's spin first. You ready, Hal?
What about Bateman?
Let's do this.
All right. Spin. What do you receive? You get a free healing potion.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
It's not bad.
Not as good as an apple.
All right.
It tastes like apple cider.
Last but not least, Denny Bobby. Let's win this spinning game. The wheel spinning so fast.
We're gonna come in first.
You receive a locked-in portent dice. So why don't you roll a d20 for me? A natural 20.
Wow.
All right, I'm going back. You guys, they can't see the roll. Denny Bobby just got a natural 20. So here's the thing. Okay, Tyler, for Denny Bobby, you have a locked-in crit that you can use whenever you want, right? So anytime you're making a roll, you can opt to take the crit instead of the roll. Also, if somebody uses an attack against you, you can also opt to use that in its place, but I don't think you'll be using it for that. So you now have a crit on demand. Also,
No, he will use it when we're getting hit. Yeah.
That way I'm first.
wow. So right now, as we're doing this, we got another $50 donation that just came through.
Oh my lord.
Yay.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
So let me. I gotta download this so I can see. I'm guessing this is a level up because it's $50.
That was
So is an anonymous, and it says, "Oh, this level up is for Hal from the Nightingale."
Ooh.
It says it's anonymous, but it's also
That's what I'm talking about.
All right, so Hal, you take another level up, and
Awesome. Thank you.
and so I think, guys, that puts us at over the $400 milestone now. No, we're at $385, so we're just under the $400 milestone. So keep the donations rolling in, guys. This is amazing. Thank you, anonymous. I'm sure Rick knows who it is. So that is awesome. So that's all of our backlogged things. I personally have one more. Let me see.
can't believe
no,
I
I
rolled
think-
a crit on that portent.
Oh
That's
god,
amazing.
that was amazing. Yeah. Okay, so random wheel spins are done. Level ups. I gave out the one to Hal. I have one banked DM inspiration. The players still don't have any inspirations banked up, but you guys are getting. That's the thing. You guys are getting huge donations, $50 donations, not $10 donations, right?
Yeah, we're not complaining. What feat did Shin pick? Are we gonna find out?
Warcaster.
Oh, boring.
Yeah.
No, like inspiring leader.
I
Oh.
mean, I could probably switch it out if you allow it.
Nah. You can pick whatever you want. You can
I
take
don't-
whatever you want.
Steve, why do you hate us?
You had that one ready, Steve.
I mean, here's the thing. It's a very different sort of like game. You guys are
Okay.
like you guys are so D&D players. Like, oh, I get a free feat. Warcaster, Sentinel. Like, you guys are like, I'm gonna like beat the shit out of whatever we fight, and I'm like, that's a D&D player right there. But
My feat I picked is observant, which is just all RP stuff. So
awesome.
I feel like
That's
feel
just
like,
the screw it to DM feat,
Yep.
My
Yeah,
passive is 22. Will you please take this in consideration describing the enemies?
You know, I actually haven't asked. Like, what is everyone's passive perception? Who's got the highest?
Not Shen. I'll say that
11.
much.
On a scale
Also
from 1 to
11,
10,
yeah.
I have an 11.
15.
Okay, not bad.
Jordan?
18.
17.
Oh, okay. So we got a mixed bag. Couple highs, couple.
Mine's
Karate
super
Kid in our
low.
chat is saying to pick actor, which I think is pretty appropriate.
Oh, dang.
You know what, person in chat, I will do that. Thanks, Karate Kid 714.
Okay,
This
and
one's
so
for you.
I at this point, I'm just amazed that you crit on a portent die. So
So good.
okay,
You know, I
so
have to use it on the raise. There's no other place this is going.
check
Oh
and
my
thank
God.
donors.
It's Shen.
No.
It says you can mimic the speech of another person. So could you just not sound like Shen? I'm just kidding.
So check and thank donors done. Resolve donation bonuses. We just resolved all of those. Resolve milestone bonuses. So we have the first milestone we had at $100 said that all players must speak in rhymes for one in-game day.
Oh no.
Oh,
So during the day of the Pudding Faire, because we hit this pre-stream, you guys must attempt to speak in rhymes as much as possible. And if you don't, then I reserve the right to make the world act accordingly.
Well,
Everyone during the day is gonna have very little to say.
Oh, it already started. You already rhymed.
Yeah, sorry. I'm the only one actually equipped for this. I went to school and took a lot of poetry classes, so I'll probably be all right. But the rest of you can be quiet if you want. I'll do it.
I still assert that every word rhymes with itself.
Just repeat yourself.
Oh yeah, just have a stutter. Just say it's not really a stutter. You just repeat every sentence twice, and you're good to go. Good to go. Okay.
we just need like a backing drum beat track the entire day.
Oh, I see. We just I'm already done with this round. I saw we just got another $50 anonymous donation that came through to put us over the $400. That is amazing, but we're gonna get to that bonus after the next day. So thank you. This is
Thank you for
pretty.
the donation.
You guys are too
Yay.
amazing out there. We can just stop the stream until we hit $500, right? We're just done.
No,
That's
we're
not the
playing.
rule, Steve.
There are no rules. I make the rules.
Every donation over 500 means we got to play for an additional hour.
Ooh, I can make that happen.
I'll do it.
So
I'll call that bluff, Jordan. Let's go.
yeah, we didn't even do stretch goals.
It's not a bluff. Let's do it.
Okay, so you wake up the next morning. Sorry, I'm just jumping into the next. This is the morning of the Pudding Faire. So I'm going to let's see. This is one of the things I need to get a better way to do, but I'm going to. Okay. I think I need. So you wake up the morning of the Pudding Faire. I need to adjust this 1 second. This song's a little louder. Okay, sorry, technical issues. You wake up. The crow of a rooster awakens you from your slumber, followed by the beep. There's like a little gnome tinkering box in your room that apparently is like an alarm clock that like plays music as well. And the sound of a brass band cranking up outside of your room wakens you bright and early. Roll up for the Pudding Faire, cries a voice from the street below. Peering out the inn's window, you see a crowd of happy halflings and gnomes bustling towards a fairground on the village green. It is 7 o'clock in the morning on the day of the annual Honey Puddle Pudding Faire. So,
I cannot wait to get there. I cannot wait to get to the Pudding Faire. Just after we grapple this.
is that rhyme?
Apple.
This is gonna be so hard.
Grapple the apple with my teeth.
You may have greatly overestimated your players.
Notice I didn't, put this on myself. So, so it's like 7 in the morning. You wake up. You step out of the inn, right? And you see like there's a giggling children are like chasing a goose that startles it. And the goose flies up in the air right into a nearby gnome who's carrying like a tray of cakes. And the cakes like fly in the air and the gnome falls down with like cakes like landing on her head and spilling all over the dirt. But everyone's in good nature and fun, and everyone's cheerful and continues like having a good time. Passing jackdaw flies over your head and poops on the head, a bald head of a halfling sitting on a bench. It just like plops down right on the halfling's head, and he looks like really sad while everyone around him like laughs. And a nagging gnome like comes up. He's got a tray of like candied apples, and he's like, "You guys want an apple? Try them. They're delicious." And he looks like his, one of his eyes might be a little like wild, but he wants to know if you'll, taste some of his apples. Candied apples.
Well, I'll be the judge of that. I mean, look at me. I'm a halfling that's fat.
Okay. He definitely like hands you one from the tray and then tries to see if anyone else wants to try any.
Blooming raises a hand.
Yeah, he'll hand one over to you, no problem.
Sorry, gnome. Please leave me alone.
So you guys like bite into this apple, and like immediately you're struck with like a sensation of like disgust. These apples are like completely rotten, and like the candied apple, like the candy part on the outside, it tastes like somebody is like shoving bits of glass into your mouth, and the whole thing just tastes absolutely disgusting and rancid. But he continues on down the road, like offering his apples to anyone who would possibly like take them. What's your verdict, Hal, on these apples?
They're not as good as mine, or they're better than mine, really. They're better than mine, and if you believe me, you gotta believe me because I'm not lying.
You know what? Hal? I wouldn't have been surprised if it was an onion, pal.
It might have been. And last, as you guys continue up the road, there's a barking dog chasing a rat like through the crowd and just running through everyone's legs. And the town crier, the one that's yelling about rolling up to the Pudding Faire, is like walking down the street. The rat like runs through the town crier's legs, and so does the dog, which causes the town crier to lose his balance and go like face first into the mud, and just like plop into the mud, like and there's like a roar of laughter. And a bunch of people come over and like help him up. And it looks like maybe his nose is broken as he goes face first into the ground. But overall, he seems to be in decent spirits still. No matter how much is going wrong, the Pudding Faire, nothing can ever get anyone's sort of hopes and feelings down. So this is where I give the day to you guys. So because of the interest of time, because we have the ability to... we're on a time crunch because we're doing a one-shot. I'm going to do two things. First of all, I'm going to drag you guys over to this map, and this is the Pudding Faire map. Ooh. I'm actually going to drag and drop your actual character tokens. So you can take a minute to look at the bottom. There's a key that shows all the different events that are available for you guys to maybe like check out. So Shen, Bartle, A, Brian, So because we are on somewhat of a time crunch, what I'm going to do is I'm dividing the day into 3 like sections. There's a morning, an afternoon, and then like a morning, an afternoon, and like an evening, and then the final like event where everyone goes and cut the pudding is at the end, and we'll get to that. So during each one of those 3 time blocks, I will allow you guys to basically choose one thing you guys would like to do. And I think I will even let you guys split into 2 groups. So we can do 2 events in the morning, 2 events in the afternoon, 2 events at night, and then we'll get to the close of the Pudding Faire. So if you guys have any like strong feelings about where you'd like to go, our 17 events are the Great Pudding Tent, which you know, Denny, is where the Yandala's luck event is being held, the race. There's the cider stand. There's the livestock pen, the village herbalist, a yard sale, Nanny Cowslip's candies, a puppet show, a potter's kiln, archery contest, storm the castle event, stand-up comedian, caricaturist, eel eating contest, fool the psychic, the oiled boar contest, the wrestling ring, and the stone skipping contest.
Raise your hand if you want to go to the cider stand.
Brian raised his hand.
Bartleby goes just to keep an eye on Brian.
I'll be fine, bud.
So
you don't have to worry about me. I'm not gonna fall in the mud.
So that was Bartleby, Hal, and Brian going to the cider stand. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay.
I wanna do the race. You know, I don't want to miss Bobby losing face.
Yeah. Well, so we can do one group going to the cider stand. Do you guys all want to go to the cider stand together, or do you guys want to split up and do a second event in the morning? That leaves like Shen
I want
and
to
Phil.
either go to the Great Pudding Tent or try that Storm the Castle event.
Yeah, storm the castle. That sounds like an event.
Do we know what the Storm the Castle is?
Why don't you make a history check for me?
Alright.
Or you can just ask someone if you don't know. Denny, do you want to use your stored up crit?
No.
Not yet.
Oh, 3.
With a 12, I think actually as a gnome, no, you probably have no idea.
Alright.
Oh, Steve, could you swap out my character token real quick?
Oh, yep, that's not the right one.
Yeah, it's
I
really-
didn't stick your. Okay, that's a good point. I didn't stick your new token to your. Benny Bobby. Why? It's saved there in one thing. Hang on, let me see. Edit. Move.
Okay, so I know the 3 of them are going to the cider thing. Do you guys, the other 2 Gias, want to try the Storm the Castle thing or anything else?
I'm willing to storm the castle.
So storm the
So-
castle is
Won't be too
number.
much a hassle.
If there will be any storming of the castle, I will be participating.
Okay, that's number 10.
Well, so then do you guys want to hold off on storm the castle until after you can meet back up after the cider stand, or do you want to just skip the cider stand and go to the storm the castle? Because it sounds like some people are heading to storm the castle right first thing in the morning.
I can do the storm the castle.
Yeah,
That's Jordan talking, not Brian.
we'll build up a thirst.
Like I'm saying,
Yeah,
like there's
that's a
all
good
kinds of
point.
fun stuff. So like, don't feel like you're missing out, right? Like,
Well, for Brian, he wants to do the Great Pudding Tent because he wants to race with Denny Bobby.
okay,
He wants to do the Storm the Castle thing because that sounds like a great like group event. But the cider stand and the stone skipping contest sound fantastic. If anybody else is interested in those.
Yeah, the only thing Denny really needs to hit is the Great Pudding Tent, and I'm assuming that's later tonight.
Well, so the way it works, right? Because you'd build like they do at the end of the night. They have the Great Pudding like ending of the night event where everyone goes to the tent and celebrates. But winning the Pudding King title happens during the day, so you got to go during the day to win the race.
Okay, I can go during the day or later then. If we're all gonna do like storm the castle or something.
So it sounds like this is before like we start waffling, right? So like, does people still want to go to the cider stand right now?
I mean, Bartleby makes a good point about having to work up a thirst. I think we storm the castle first.
Okay, so we're definitely gonna do a storm the castle in the AM. Is all 6 of you guys want to go to storm the castle, or is there anyone else who wants to go anywhere else?
Shen, where you been?
I believe that we have come to a consensus, and this is really difficult. Trying to do Shen's voice, but also trying to rhyme.
Yeah, Shen, I heard you got accepted to Mensis.
Yeah, you gotta come with us.
Yes, rhyme with consensus.
Come with us.
So
It's a soft rhyme.
I will go wherever the wind takes us.
There you go.
Such a cop-out.
Ooh, there you go.
Okay. So we are going to. We're doing morning storm the castle, which is number 10, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's funny because all of our tokens are around 10.
Yeah. I can't see him right now. Okay. So, you head to the storm the castle. And as you approach, there's like a small field set up with 2 like large castles. They're not like actually made out of stone, they're just kind of made out of wood, but it looks like there are castles on each end of the field. And there's a flag on top of each castle, about 5 foot tall. And there's 2 teams of people, one red, one blue, and it's basically looks like they're playing a giant game of capture the flag, where one team has to go across the field, get the other team's flag, and bring it back to their castle. Every single person has a giant, colorful beanbag that they throw, and there's judges. So whenever a beanbag like hits someone, you have to drop whatever you're holding and go back to your castle. And so it's a giant game of like capture the flag that's going on. And so you guys kind of go over to inquire about like how do you sign up and how do we play, etc. And the person that's like running it, they look you up and down, and he like puts his like little like stubby thumb over his shoulder, and he goes, "Can't you notice this is a kids event?" And you look, and every single person out here is like basically like 10 and under.
Well,
for a minute, Denny.
What? You think we couldn't defeat them?
Yeah, for just a minute, like that the competitive Denny is like, I can do it. I can beat these kids. And we get like a smash cut of you just like hitting kids in the face with beanbags, you know? Like Billy Madison.
Even better if they are child, because their bones are weak and mild.
But you take a minute to watch the event unfold, but it seems that like adults are not allowed to compete in this particular event, which kind of is sad. I know you guys are so excited for that. But as you're watching, there's like a loud like smacking sound, almost like something got hit really, really hard, and there's like a gasp as everyone turns and looks, and you can see like a couple of the boys on the blue team, their faces are just completely like bloodied. Like they are like basically gone into shock and are like now lying there writhing on the ground like in immense pain. And like the game like stops as like the judges kind of run in to see what's going on.
I'm gonna go help that guy over there, or those 2 boys.
Give him an apple.
They mashed their face, and it didn't look like they're playing with their toys.
Yeah, so you rush over to kind of check on them and stuff, and it's nothing like life threatening, but this poor child, it looks like something bashed. It almost looks like they were hit in the face with a rock.
Here, eat one of these. It'll make you feel well.
But it hurts to eat.
I can tell. Eat it anyway, and that blood will go away.
Oh, okay, it rhymes, so he eats it.
Nice.
Yeah, and as they eat the apple, the healing like seems to go in it and like completely wash away like the actual like damage, and the kid looks like he's feeling like a lot better.
He gains 3 hit points. 3.
He only has like, I mean, an adult Commodore has 4, so he probably had 1. Okay. Yeah. So like, you can see like he's basically telling you like, but that's not fair. The other team cheated.
Can I look
Is the
around? Do I see
proprietor-
what it was that hit these kids, or?
Yeah, it's pretty obvious, right? So like lying there next to this bloody kid is one of these bean bags. And you go and kind of check it out, Vermin, and you pick it up, and immediately you can tell that this bean bag is not full of beans. It is completely full of like rocks.
Is the proprietor still there?
Yes, he's kind of like watching the whole thing.
Sir, as you can see, this game is not what you have claimed it to be.
No. Listen, we provide very safe bean bags for the children.
Looks like someone put rocks in those socks.
What? Let me see. And like immediately, as soon as you like point out the fact that this thing is like full of rocks, he shakes his head and he goes, "I should have known those bottom over twins would have been up to no good." And there's like he looks over and there's like a pair of halfling kids in the group opposite this, and he looks at them and he shakes his head and he's like, "Every year these kids cause some kind of trouble. Every year, I'm gonna kick them out." And you watch as he kind of goes over and chastises the kids, and the kids are like, "Prove it! We didn't do anything." And then as he like turns his head and like one of them pulls out another like bean bag and like chucks it and like totally hits the guy in the back, and it's another bean bag full of rocks, and they both laugh and jump the fence and run away. So he comes back and he's like, I do apologize. Here, take a prize on the house. And he goes to like the kid that got super bloodied and beat up and kind of gives him like a little trophy that shows that his team like won one of the events. But yeah, and not, like I said, there's no serious damage here. It's just this poor kid got hit in the face with a beanbag full of rocks, and yeah, that kind of is what happens when you go visit Storm the Castle. And so I think because we all went as a group, I'll allow you guys one more stop in the AM as a group. So where would you guys like to go next?
Either.
Yeah, let's go to the cider stand.
You worked up your thirst watching kids get hit with rocks? Oh, a band. Let's see.
The cider stand.
You know, it's so early, but I'm ready to get started.
It's like 8 a.m.
Yeah, it's time for Brian to start drinking.
Okay, let me.
Not really sure what he's thinking.
Nice.
Yeah, as long you guys keep covering for each other. Does that work? Okay, so now you guys head over to the cider stand. And as you arrive, it's basically set up. There is a ton of like cider here, right? And different kinds of ciders made from local presses. And it seems to be a thing where all the farmers bring their like ciders that they've made, and everyone like kind of sits around and samples them and, you know, critiques them and or just becomes like a central focus for people to hang out. It's just like tables, like a small like tent, and a little bar with like all these like kegs of mostly ciders, although there is a few kegs of ale here as well. And so like as you kind of come in, like this little like waitress kind of comes over and she says, "Hi, my name's Maze. What can I get for you?" And
one of everything.
She smiles and she's like, "That's the way to do it." And so she nods and she says, "I'll be back with." Are you looking at the ciders or also the ales?
I said everything.
Maybe an apple pale ale or a cider.
Well, I'll tell you what we got this year. We have the award-winning Honey Puddles Harvest, Cyrrollalee's Embrace, Rosie's Pig, Keeper's Meadow, Nebulon's Next Big Thing. Those are all ciders. And as far as ales, we have Celestial Moonshine, Morden Stout, and, Erdlin's Umbrage.
I'll take one of each ale, and instead of a cup, I want it in a pail.
And she's like, even Erdlin's Umbrage?
Did I stutter?
Right. I'll be back. And so she disappeared.
I love ale.
Yeah. She disappears for a second to kind of go behind and bring like one of everything. And right around this time, as you guys are kind of talking, there's like you see like this loud voice kind of stands up on one of the tables, and it's this young halfling man like dressed in a very nice thing, and he says, "Maze, I, Wellington Sparrowwind, would love to ask for your hand if you will dance with me tonight at the Pudding Faire, at the great Pudding Faire dance." And your waitress, Maze, right? She's kind of working behind the bar, and she looks like she's distracted, and she kind of looks at him, and she's like, I'm sorry, Wellington, but I can't. It's just not going to happen. And this kid, like, standing up on the table with all these eyes, like, looking on him, he looks around, and you can just see the panic wash over in his face as he enters, like, fight or flight mode, and he chooses flight, and he, like, books it out of this like cider tent. Just tears in his eyes as he runs away.
Brian is clapping.
You're clapping for him?
Yeah, you did it. Good try though. He's definitely gonna go cry though.
Oh yeah, you can already see it started, right? And so Maze, right, your waitress kind of comes just a few minutes later with like the tray of drinks, and she puts down like one of like everything like in these big flagons like you asked. And she's like, I do apologize for the disturbance. And she's giving you a little bit of all the ciders.
So that kid named Wellington, is he more or less a Smellington?
No, actually, I really like Wellington. He's a nice boy. He's nicer to me than most of the people around here. I do like him. You see him, she looks around and she's like, Mother told me that I can only dance with the Pudding King. I really like Wellington, but he's kind of clumsy, so there's no chance he could win the crown.
I agree, there's no chance. It's a shame he won't get that dance.
And she kind of like looks off, and she's like kind of staring where Wellington ran off, and she's like nods. She's like, yeah, it's a shame. Well, try the ciders. Let me know if there's anything else I can get for you. And she kind of tucks the little, like, serving tray against her as she kind of moves back through the crowded area. And yeah, you guys are able to try all the ciders and ales. So I'll give you a quick, like, brief, like, description of what the ales and ciders are. So the award-winning Honey Puddles Harvest is apple strawberry. Cyrrollalee's Embrace is made from wild berries. Rosie's Pig is a cider made from rhubarb. Keeper's Meadow is made from honey and wildflowers. And Nebulon's Next Big Thing is a gnomish take on cider, and it is made from lichen and lime.
7-Up.
And then the ale is like Celestial Moonshine, which is like a pale ale. And Morden Stout, which is like a very deep, rich dwarven ale. And that leaves the last one, Erdlin's Umbrage, which Brian is even like Maze kind of gave you that warning, but you took it, right? So when you take a drink, it washes over your taste buds, and the most disgusting thing I shouldn't say that. I don't know if it's the most disgusting thing Brian's ever tasted, but it's got to be close. It tastes like moldy rocks stewed in fishy water.
See, Brian's normal MO is to like pour a little bit for Bartleby so he can try it and sample everything, and then Brian usually drinks the rest. But at this juncture, he takes a little sip of this one and then just puts the glass back down and is like, I have standards, and this is far from them. Please take this from me. Far from me, please.
Yeah, it's odd, right?
Roman reaches over and takes a glass, kind of sniffs for a second, and then takes a drink.
Yeah, it tastes disgusting even for a gnome. Even
What
for
did you
your
think?
taste.
I've had worse.
It does seem out of place, right?
And pushes it away.
It does seem out of place because all of these, even if it's not your favorite flavor, it's definitely not disgusting, but this is the only one that for some reason seems to strike you as like intentionally gross.
What was that one called? It was
Erdlin's Umbrage.
Erdlin's Umbrage. Do
It's
we know anything about Erdlin or?
You can give me like a history or a religion check.
Brian's just got his head in his hands, and he's like, I don't know if Ernlid's mad or if he just
Okay.
wants us to be sad.
So, Vermin, you do know Erdlin. He is a gnomish god. He's kind of in the pantheon, but he is like the gnomish god of like murder and greed.
Oh,
So
Okay,
he is absolutely like a bad news sort of deity. And so the fact that like this Erdlin's name is like attached to this drink kind of makes sense in that it must be made disgusting on purpose and kind of for some religious reason associated with the gnomish god of greed and murder.
Well, Bartleby will grab the glass and just say, whatever slop made you stop, and give it a try.
Everyone's just passing around and making the like disgusting look and then saying, you got to try it. Yeah.
that's definitely what's happening.
Yeah, it's that typical thing. This is awful. Do you want some?
Yeah, you should try it. You should try it.
So here's the thing, to your
You're
refined
stolen.
palate.
Terrible.
Yeah, to your refined palate, this is absolutely disgusting, but in the best, most magical way. Like somebody artistically crafted the worst combination of flavors possible. This wasn't just like a bunch of gross flavors thrown together. It is like a symphony of disgustingness.
Wow. This is amazing.
Amazingly bad.
Yeah, Maze comes back and she sees you guys kind of like looking at it and she says, oh yeah, that one, usually it's kind of, it's like a tradition to drink it as like a dare, or like you dare somebody to drink a glass and not, throw it up. So it's not really meant to be drunk. Really, it's just kind of there for people who, want to be reminded of why we don't like Erdlin. If that makes sense.
Well, if that is meant to be a dare, then please share.
Yeah.
Yes,
And Shen
drink
will
it.
try and take a swig.
Yeah. It's definitely a gnomish
it's
tradition.
So it's a joke because it makes you choke.
The gnomes, they bring it every year, and we humor them by putting it on the menu. And yeah, it's pretty disgusting.
Shen tries really hard not to throw up.
Constitution save.
Yeah, how much did you drink? Did you take like a sip, or are you like chugging it?
I took Shen definitely took like two healthy glugs.
All right, give me a con save.
Yes.
Yep, all over the table. You do what the gnomes refer to as the prismatic glitter gold yawn, as you barf up your drink all over the table.
Whoa.
And like people see it happening, and you would think they would act disgusted, but when they realize like you were drinking that specific drink, they all like cheer and like it's become a tradition that people like cannot hold this drink down.
Shen, you got Baitlin. No.
Yeah, Baitlin's just dripping in like disgusting Erdlin's umbrage.
Now Baitlin's gonna smell like that all day. I mean, come on. What do you have to say?
Yeah. Okay. So the rest of the afternoon you guys spend trying all the drinks, meeting all the people. Everyone's just having a good time. Everyone's in good spirits, and the clock kind of ticks into like afternoon. So now we get to do 2 events in the afternoon. So what 2 events? I think it makes sense if we just stick as a group and do 2 events per time. So what 2 other events would you guys like to do in the afternoon?
I feel like the race has to be one of them, right, Tyler?
First, go get drunk on the cider, and then go race.
Yeah, because it's afternoon and then evening, right?
Yes, you have 2 in the afternoon and then 2 in the evening, and then they'll have the closing ceremonies.
Oh yeah, so at any point in the day. Just as long as we can hit up that race at some point.
Nice.
I mean, we can go do it now. It seems like most people are interested in that, so why don't we go do the race?
Okay.
So we move over to the Great Pudding Tent. And as you enter, you can see that like it's basically come almost like there is this event, this Yandala's Luck race that goes on, but it's also turned into like a feasting hall where they're having meals all day because there's just like food all the time being passed out. So the tables are kind of set in like a big ring around the center of the tent. There's delicious stews and vegetables and fruits that kind of fill the air, and you guys are like you can't even walk in without somebody trying to hand you like a plate of food to eat. And the smells in here are like delicious. And you can see that there is a big chalkboard kind of on the wall that has the current best time for the Yandala's Luck. And a bunch of people that are like running and like jumping from table to table while they're being pelted with like small like melons, like cantaloupes. And one of the people gets like hit midair and like it shatters across his face, like sending him into the ground. And then he hits the ground and like the judge like rules him out. And you found the right place for the game. There's like this little like halfling woman that's like watching the whole thing unfold, and she kind of shakes her head and she looks at you guys, and she leans in as she's holding like her plate of food, and she says, "What kind of idiot would ever subject themselves to playing that sort of game?"
Berman
Bartleby
doesn't say
10
it,
goes up.
but he looks over at Danny Bobby.
I'm gonna
Danny
nudge
Bobby's already at the
forward a little bit.
blackboard.
Come on, Bobby. I know this is your favorite hobby. Let's do it.
Are you all gonna go compete, or is someone just gonna stay back and watch?
I think I'll
Stay
stay back here. I'm not very fleet of foot, if you know what I mean, because I'm a little fat, and it takes people like Bobby, who's pretty lean.
Nice.
Seems like a safe assumption. Yeah, so like, show like this like halfling woman that's like talking to you. She's like saying she's sitting down to eat, and she's like inviting you to come hang out with her if you'd like to eat with her and catch up.
Brian's gonna leave his short sword and his spear so he doesn't accidentally use it during the race
Okay.
with Bartleby.
So I have Brian and Denny competing. Anyone else?
I got Bartleby.
And Bartleby.
Oh,
So you
then
hand the short sword to Bartleby, and he just hands it over to someone else.
Oh, you're coming? All right. Let's
Oh,
go
yeah.
show him.
What about Shen or Vermin?
Shen is going to bow out because
Just threw up.
because it is not his scene to try out.
Okay. And Vermin?
Now, Vermin's going to hang back and watch. But
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, so Bartleby, Brian, Denny, you all kind of go up to like the judge, and like you see like there's like this one person. He seems to be held in high regard. He's wearing like coattails and a big top hat. He actually introduces himself as the mayor, and he shakes each one of your hands. He's like, I don't believe I've ever had the honor of meeting you three. I am Mayor Barleydew, and I hope you're having fun at our Pudding Faire.
I'm Danny Bobby, but you can call me Mr. Shake. My friends Brian and Bartleby are here. You can call them Mr. Bake.
Shake and bake.
I love that movie.
So, he just does like a quick meet and greet, and you hear like somebody like, "Sir, he's causing more trouble," and he's like, "Sorry, I gotta go deal with some drunk patrons. You guys have a great time," and he like kind of goes off with his little handler, and they check you in, and so basically like what it is a race. Whoever can get across all the tables the fastest while being pelted with food from the other competitors you can basically like win the event. So
Oh, ignore that. I accidentally clicked something. My bad.
oh, okay. So yeah, they have you guys like line up, right? Anyone who's like around the outside, there's like troughs of like old kind of like bad food, but you can use it as throwing instruments. But they do allow the people to run about like 5 or 6 at a time. So they put each one of you guys into like a pod together so that you guys can basically all race each other at the same time, like it's your heat, right?
Dope.
Yeah, so you guys get up on the table, and you can see, like, the distance between the tables is pretty far. Like, it's not undoable, but given, like, the slippery surface with all the food that's, like, spilled on it, it seems like it's definitely a bit of a challenge. And so you guys get up, and everyone's cheering on. You can see, like, next to you, actually, there's, like, a gnome that's racing, and the thing that's most interesting is he seems to have, like, lost his left leg, like, at the knee, and he's built some sort of contraption on his feet with like a plunger at the bottom.
Dope.
And he's basically like, you see him like fiddling with it before the race starts, and he's got some tools, and he's very focused on like doing his best. And he sees you kind of looking him over, and he's like, I've been preparing for this for 5 years now. I'm gonna win this year. I know it.
I'm sure you were preparing, but I've got to tell you, aren't you going to get stuck in the muck with a plunger on your foot?
It might be your first time here, but it's sticking the landing that tends to get most people tripped up. That's what got me last year. So this year, I'm ready for it.
Nice. Good luck.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, the way this event goes is you must like basically make a series of like acrobatics checks to stick the landing and make the gaps essentially. So we have everyone on the outside like getting ready, like pelting food. So as we're gonna make 5 consecutive checks. If you fail one, you're out. So
okay.
So let's have all 3 of you guys give me an acrobatics check for the first jump.
Okay, I won't use my portents if there's 5. 26.
Nice.
Oh my god, we all rolled great.
Everyone makes the first jump clean, food sailing through the air. You guys land the first, and everyone in your pot of 4 people seem to clear the first table, and you're making your way to the second table, and people, like, you're running through people that are like eating and drinking, and we come to the second leaf. Now everyone needs to make another acrobatics check.
You have put so much fear in me, Steve. Oh.
Okay.
Dang.
Everyone makes the second leap as well as you land, and everyone's like in a dead heat as you're racing for the next leg, so you're trampling through people's food. All right, third jump. Everyone make your acrobatics check. All right, coming across the third gap is Bartleby is the first one to go down. So you leap, and just as you're ready to leap, your foot slips on like a banana peel, and you sail through the air and land halfway and just splat on the floor. And Bartleby is out of the race.
And he starts cursing many dwarvish curses, but they rhyme.
Denny Bobby, you almost fail here. You just barely, through sheer force of will, manage to like catch yourself on like the tip of your toes and not slip off.
He's repeating to himself, you ain't first, you're last. You ain't first, you're last.
Yeah, so right now you're definitely in last compared to the other people ahead of you, except for, Bartleby, who fell. So we got 2 final checks, and these last 2 are a little harder. So everyone make another acrobatics check.
Okay.
Yeah, everyone makes the final jump, right? So boom, you guys all land like on the top of the table, and you're almost in like a dead heat, and you're going and you're running, and actually, so Bartleby, at this point, right, since you've fallen, you're out, you can look over and pick up a pile of food. You see the 3 of them running. You have the option to throw the food at one of them to like possibly hinder them on their next check. So here's the way it works. If you hit them with food, they have disadvantage on the next roll. If you miss, they get advantage.
Oh, I'm picking something up and throwing it at Denny Bobby.
So why don't you make me it's an improvised weapon, so either a strength roll or a dex roll. And what's Denny Bobby's AC?
14. It's not that hard to hit, even though it's really fast. I was gonna use my portent. Don't do this. No.
Okay, so an 18, right smack in the back of his shoulders. Denny Bobby gets hit with like the half remains of food that like makes you stumble as you're going to do this final jump. So everyone makes the last acrobatics check, and Denny Bobby, you're at disadvantage.
Can I use my portent to cancel out the disadvantage?
You really want to use your portent to cancel out the disadvantage? I
This is
mean,
very important.
with the portent, I would just let you get the 20 regardless.
Well, he's gonna beat me then. He's got a
regardless?
higher bonus than I
Would
do.
you like to burn your portent winning this race?
Absolutely. Was that even a question?
So what's your total acrobatics check with the natural 20?
29. I have +9.
Okay.
I have expertise.
So here's what happened. The like suction cup gnome, he goes to make the jump, and right before he gets off the table to make the jump, the suction cup sticks a little bit, and like in the air, like it detaches from his leg, and he's sailing through the air with like one leg, and just falls short of clearing the gap. Brian like makes it look magical, sailing through the air, landing across the finish line in like slow motion. Feeling great, and like looks over, and you just see like the most intense focus look as Denny Bobby rockets like through the air and like beats him by like an inch.
The goggles are officially down over the sunglasses at this point.
And so yeah, Brian loses just barely to Denny Bobby. And there's a big cheering as like you guys, most people don't ever complete the course, so the fact that 2 people completed it in like such a close finish becomes like a big like talking point, and everyone cheers, and the time goes up, and they're looking at the like the thing, and the person with like the timing sandglass like marks it and pretty much has you winning, Denny Bobby. And they ask you for your name, and they put it on the big chalkboard, and it says current Yandala's Luck leader Denny Bobby.
And Brian, before they get off the table, Brian takes Denny Bobby's hand and raises it up in the air, and it's like, yeah.
So Denny, you turn and you see Bartleby staring at you because you know he nailed you with food right at then. I think what it was is you jumped in the air and the food hit you, and that gave you the slight boost you needed to actually cross the finish.
Well, Bartleby, I appreciate the help. You know, when you had that fruit upon which I was pelted.
Yeah. And so back like watching this, right, we cut away from the race that's going on, and so sitting at the table is like Shen and this halfling woman and Vermin and Hal, right? And you know, she's humoring you guys, and she's saying like this is her first time here at the Pudding Faire, and she's not really sure what she thinks yet. And as she kind of like she just has polite conversation with you guys as she eats, and she like thanks you guys like for your company or whatever, and you see her like kind of like itch her face, and as she does, you see she rubs away at her face, and a little bit of like makeup kind of comes off, and you can see under her left eye a little bit of like a birthmark in the shape of an arrow as she kind of like gets up from the table with her tray of food and like disappears from you guys, or starts walking away from you guys.
Kind of look over at Haldar to see if he noticed it too, and just
What was that on her? Is it anything I recognize?
You do know that like the Flamey Fists were looking for a halfling woman with a arrow birthmark tattoo under her left eye. She's the one. She was seemingly the one with the bounty on her head. The one that was super dangerous.
I think that's the outlaw those guards were looking for. If any makeup fell off, that arrow would show even more.
Do I see any sign of weapons or anything on her? Anything like that?
Make a perception check for me.
Okay. Natural 20.
So she's got concealed very, very well hidden on her body. She definitely has a short sword, like put in a way that like the average person wouldn't even notice it, but it's there. She's definitely armed, no doubt about it.
Keep your distance from that one. She might shank you. And I kind of pat the thing I was working on yesterday. That's now holstered at my side. But I'm definitely keeping an eye on her as she moves away. Is she still in the area that we're in, or is she heading off somewhere else?
It looks like she is currently like leaving the pudding tent, but she's not like being sneaky about it. She's just kind of like walking out into the grounds, like she's going to go enjoy the rest of the festival. But if you want to follow her, it's not that hard.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to follow her.
Okay. So Vermin begins following this mysterious halfling woman, and Denny Bobby, you're currently the reigning Yandala's Luck champion.
Jenny Bobby's been doing laps around the tent for about 5 minutes now.
Yeah, everyone wants to like shake your hand and hear the tale. But then you guys notice that like Vermin is like apparently like getting ready to leave. Like especially like you guys are sitting at the table, you see Vermin go after this woman. Would you guys want to go with him, or are you just gonna let him go off on his own?
Shen, do you want to go with me to follow that guy?
I am here to enjoy the festivities, not to make some enemies.
If he like gets in trouble with that lady, he might die.
So.
So Hal, sounds like Shen's a no.
I'll follow.
Okay.
Vermin.
Yeah, so you're following Vermin, who's following this halfling woman, and she kind of goes towards the Fool the Psychic tent at this point. So yeah, you see Elsie, or sorry, you see this woman, potentially Elsie Rumknuckle, go towards like the booth that says like, you know, Fool the Psychic, and when you get there, there's this woman, and she's standing on a stage, and there's other people that have like a little chalkboard, and she'll ask him a question like, write your age down on that chalkboard, and the person will write the age down, and she will sit there and kind of like start like doing this whole like ritualistic dance thing, and then she'll tell them the age they are, and the person will turn the thing over and show that they have like, you know, she got it right. She guessed my age perfectly, and no one can believe it. This lady seems to be psychic. And you see like Elsie, like kind of like this woman, potentially Elsie, walk up, and she looks, and she's like, Petunia, at the woman on stage, and this halfling woman turns and looks at her, and she's like, oh, hi. And Elsie's like, it's me, Elsie, from Waterdeep. Don't you remember me? And the psychic is kind of like, oh yes, of course I remember you. We met at the Yawning Portal. And Elsie is like, wait, you would definitely remember me. What's going on? And the psychic's like, well, there's a very good explanation. And then the psychic runs off stage and bolts out the back and just disappears through the curtains. And the crowd is kind of like murmuring and looking at each other like really confused. And then you guys see the confusion on Elsie's face as she looks around at the crowd. And you see Elsie kind of like walk in the direction that the psychic ran.
Well, shit. I don't think that was a bit.
And so, yeah, Hal and... Yeah, nice rhyme, by the way. Hal and Vermin, you guys are there, like, watching this unfold.
I'm gonna keep following Elsie and kind of trying to, you know, go around to maybe go around past Elsie to sort of get a bit better look at where the psychic ran off to, or...
Right. Why don't you give me a perception check?
Okay.
Ooh, Elsie's not doing very stealthy.
4.
Yep. So at this point, Elsie becomes more stealthy, and she starts trying to, like, hide where she's going and stuff. And immediately, like, after one turn, you, like, lose sight of Elsie. She's just disappeared into the crowd somewhere. And so has the psychic, for that matter.
Darn stupid eye.
But yeah, so that Full the Psychic becomes our second afternoon event that goes on, because I'm trying to keep the time rolling. So you guys meet back up at the tent, right? And you just see crowds gathered around as Denny Bobby is like standing on a table recounting his version of events to like an enthralled group that want to hear every detail.
All the details are in rhyme, also, of course. Naturally.
And all the details are in rhyme, yeah. Okay. And so that brings us... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Bobby, you know, I thought I should mention, since you won the race, are you ready to keep pace with the last that we met? Because she made it pretty clear when we were drinking beer that she was going to marry whoever won the race.
I mean, technically it was just dance.
I'm trying to see if Bobby remembered that.
Oh, okay.
I absolutely did not. Well, Brian, she'll have to wait because Jenna Jones is in her place. Once I get as fast as I can, I'll return as her man.
Gonna break that poor girl's heart. I don't know if she's gonna let you part with her.
Somebody needs to start beatboxing in the background.
So now as like you guys kind of like meet back up at the Great Pudding Tent, and like it's starting to get like late afternoon. There's a little bit of commotion from the other side of the tent, and it seems like somebody is screaming something about a frog. And you guys kind of like push over to the crowd to see what's going on. The little handler, like with the mayor, is holding a frog, and the frog has like a little top hat on it, and she's yelling, "The mayor's been turned into a frog!"
That's exciting. We should go see what this is all about. You know, this is clearly for clout.
I mean, it's just like his wife, apparently. It's like this woman, his wife, is walking around saying, "My husband's been turned into a frog. Did anyone see where he went? He did this to him." And she sees you guys looking, and she's like, "You're not from around here. Can you guys help? Something happened to the mayor." And she holds up, and you just see the frog going like ribbit with like the little like, you know, croaking noise. But the frog's definitely... looks to wear a hat that resembles what the mayor had.
Well, luckily, Brian has true sight, so can I see his original form?
Wow,
Probably
that's
not.
intense.
Probably not, because there's fog.
Yeah, there's too much fog. What she just relays is she says like he was there was this drunk gnome. He was causing trouble. My husband told him that he's gonna have to leave, and the man blew some dust in his face. And next thing you know, he's a frog. And then he stormed out of here.
Can Shen do like an Arcana check to see what kind of spell this would fall under?
Sure. Give me an Arcana check.
Can I give Shen advantage by assisting?
Does Shen want help from somebody else? Is the question.
No, Shen does not want help at all.
Okay then.
You can make your own Arcana check, Roman.
All right.
22.
Yeah, 22. This is very much reminiscent of like a polymorph spell. And Vermin, this isn't a tough thing. It definitely looks like some sort of polymorph spell was put on him, although the idea of it being contained in some sort of dust powder is intriguing. You're not sure if you necessarily believe that it's possible. But, you know, given magic, I guess anything's possible. But it's not common for a polymorph spell to be delivered through like a dust cloud blown out of someone's hand.
Berman kind of looks over at Shen to see like, anything you can do for this.
Well, if I was there, then you would see I would be able to counterspell it because, you know. Oh god, I'm struggling so much. With the
Because.
Yeah, but unfortunately, you know, I mean, you would know, like, any sort of dispel magic should be able to revert him back to his normal state.
Well,
That's
if
great.
you gave me one night, then perhaps I will go within my wizard might and try and fix this.
Brian goes, boo. Sorry, he's better as a frog. No offense, Mayor Lady, but I think he's perfect as a frog.
She
But
like
at-
looks.
at-
She's like, maybe I could try kissing him. That usually works in fairy tales, right?
Oh, gross. Yeah, do it. Do the most.
You watch as she slowly brings the frogs up to her lips and kisses it, and like immediately like spits like bleh, and like nothing happens.
She get high? Is it one of those kind of frogs?
No, not even that.
Actually, I would know is if it's a regular polymorph spell, like if it takes any damage, the spell is broken, or
I mean, yeah, you know that like if you can kill the form, it'll like revert back to its true form.
Unless it's true polymorph.
Do you want to like? Do you want to like pull out like a knife and try to like stab the mayor? Is that what you're asking?
I'm certainly considering it.
Yeah. She's kind of moved
Ask the
away.
mayor lady, did you see where the gent went?
I lost him. He kind of just like blended into the crowd and then he was gone. But he went like that way, and she just points like out the tent, kind of to the west.
Right.
Yeah. So I think at this point, because we're already like coming up on like the 4 o'clock, which is like our midpoint for like our break and stuff. I think I'm going to skip the afternoon events. I know that I'm just kind of sad because there's so much fun stuff you guys wanted to be able to do. We're gonna skip straight to the ending night with like the pudding festival, and then we're gonna go to break. So everyone comes to again. The other weird thing too is like hours go by, right? We're talking like 6+ hours, and this mayor has not reverted back from his frog form, and you would expect most polymorph spells only last, roughly an hour or so. So something it seems to be stronger than a normal polymorph spell that's holding the mayor there. But yeah, at the end of the night, the record holds Denny Bobby remains the Pudding King, and there's a whole ceremony where like they bring a crown and like put it on your head, Denny. So you wear the crown, and there's this giant pudding that's brought out, and it's when they talk about like a pudding, it's a giant fruitcake that is approximately like 28 feet tall. It goes from the ground to like the top of this tent, and at the top there's a giant saw blade, and there's a gnome on one side and a halfling on the other, suspended from a rope, and a whole crew of people holding them, and they begin to like saw the fruitcake like down in big ol' slices. And the first piece of fruitcake for the whole night is offered to the Pudding King. So they bring it to you, Denny Bobby, and hand you the plate. And everyone waits with bated breath to see how you describe the pudding. Is it to your liking?
I think I'm going to swallow it whole.
Okay.
What does that end up tasting like, if anything at all?
It's actually really delicious. It just barely touches your tongue, but like it tastes very flavorful, very dense. It's good. Oh, Brian won the stone skipping contest. Yeah, actually, it wasn't that hard for you to win the stone skipping contest.
Nice.
It was mostly kids trying.
Fuck them kids.
Yeah, no, you took the title from them. There's no prize other than like a stuffed animal, but
Good riddance.
yeah. Yeah. So the pudding goes to you. You like those are big crowd cheers. Everyone's a little upset because the fact that like the mayor is still a frog. There's a big recounting of like Cyrrollalee's like stories, and they kind of go off and give this big spiel about why we remember Cyrrollalee and why it's such a big deal, and we need to get together in unity, halflings and gnomes together, and it's this very like touching sort of moment with the big like saw blade going on all night, cutting everyone their things. And yeah, even Denny, you get to choose who you want to dance with for your first dance. And the only one, I mean, is there anyone that you met today that you want to be your first dance? It can be Maze, but it doesn't have to be.
I want to dance by myself.
Elsie.
I like it. You choose to like reject tradition and dance with yourself.
Now I have a question for Bobby. How does he dance by himself?
Yeah, why is
Like,
it
what
so
move does he
sexual,
do?
Bobby? Jeez.
He attempts to like, so a waltz. There's like a lead and a follow. He's attempting to dance so quickly that he does both of these things at the same time.
Very fun. And so the night closes on the Pudding Faire. You guys go back to your rooms. You guys tuck in for the night. Long, exhausting day. You stretch out. You go to sleep, and you drift away to the sound of like partying and music that goes on all night. And the next day, you awaken. You stretch your muscles. And you awaken to the sound. The crow of a rooster awakens you from your slumber, followed by the sound of a brass band cranking up. 1 second. And there's a similar sound as your alarm clock goes off and wakes you up. The little alarm clock wakes you up. You stretch, roll out of bed, move to the window. Roll up for the Pudding Faire, cries a voice from the street below. Peering out the inn's window, you see a crowd of happy halflings and gnomes bustling towards a fairground on the village green. It is 7 o'clock in the morning, on the day of the annual Honey Puddle Pudding Faire. And you guys all look at each other confused, as time seems to be repeating itself. And with that, we will take a break. We're going to go to a 10-minute break real quick.
I'd like to clarify something before we go to break.
Okay.
Brian does not like kids. That's why he said F those kids. But Jordan is all for the kids, which is why we're doing this extra.
Oh, that's right. That's why we're doing this for the
I
kids.
just wanted to clarify that. I realized what I said, and I was like, wait, that's against the theme of what we're doing here. So,
also, that guy, my brother in chat, wants to know if
it's called the shake and bake.
Yeah,
he's doing the shake and bake, but he's doing the shaking and the baking by himself.
So this is roughly our halfway point, and I know we set an end time of like 6, but we might go a little longer depending on how much you guys get into this. But like,
love it.
Yeah,
all night.
Yeah, all night. We're going all night, just like this. We're gonna be stuck in a time loop forever. So it's the next morning. Let's take a quick 10-minute break. Stretch our things. It's 4:04. We're gonna come back at like 4:15 to do the rest of this game. We've got some more donations. We'll get to that as we start the new day. We no longer have to speak in rhymes, but we do have to switch, and everyone has to play each other's characters for one day.
Oh God!
So we're gonna do some random rolls in the next.
That's amazing.
So take a break. You guys in chat, thanks for hanging in there. We still have some donation. We have $455. We're $45 short of our goal. We're so close. Woo! We're so close. We can get there. Help us get there. Dig into your pocketbooks. Give someone a level up, and then we'll get there. And maybe we'll get to some combat. Who knows? So we'll be back in 10 minutes. Don't go anywhere. Bye.